This is a momentous occasion. This is the first time we're actually going to have an introduced by an introducer. So we're going to go the triple thing like it's a big deal. So I am Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. This is Green Room Live. Carl's going to tell you all about it.
Hi guys. So some of my friends are out here. My name's Carl. I represent the Northwest with Microbiome, Blacksmith, which is the Armory that James is going to introduce to you today. Also the Green Grow dry amendments that you see out there, ARS tools, and Worm Power, which is a liquid concentrated worm casting. So this is James Kolwalski. He is out of Houston, Texas.
Who has a
He's kind of a cocky redneck.
Yeah.
But he gets along well with us. He really does. And he loves to sing old rock music all the way from Southern Oregon up here off his iPod, and he's great at that too. So this is James. He's going to give you a little bit of history, and I think you'll be pretty impressed when you listen to where his history and family roots have come from. So there you go, James Kolwalski.
Yeah, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, I guess would be a good way to put it. My father, back in the very early 90s, was looking for, we were living in Houston at the time, and he was looking for bacteria for bioremediation of chemical and oil spills. And so basically he was looking around all the universities and all the newest technology that was coming out at the time. He went to Texas A&M, and they put him over to University of Texas, and went over to the like Boulder, to the University of Colorado. Long story short, he ended up at the University of Idaho, met a guy named Dr. Don Crawford, and picked out this Streptomyces strain that was basically really effective on root diseases. Somehow this one guy finagled the rights to sell it to half the world, and the other half of the world was Simplot at the time. Fast forward a couple years, Simplot didn't do anything with the development of it, with all their resources and whatever. And so Idaho said, "Do you want the rest of the world?" My dad's like, "Sure." So my dad actually did secure the entire world rights to get the patent for the liticus, which is the active ingredient in the product, actinovate. And basically, at that point, we started formulating the product. It took a long time for it to get to the point that it's at now. Soluble powder, shelf stable. Although their shelf life's been going down, it was at one time 18 months we had it at. So my father passed away in 2002, and that's when I joined the company. My brother, I, and my mother built the company up for 10 years and then sold it to Novozymes. Novozymes was a company that we thought was a good fit. They're a Danish company, very green, earth friendly supposedly. They do only outdoor crops. So we were figuring, okay, they do outdoor crops, we do indoor crops and specialty crops. That's our specialty. So we were like, good fit. And our lawyer was like, nope. He kept telling us, he's like, whatever they're saying, don't believe it. So, but anyway, long story short, I guess November of 2012, fast forward to December of 2013, and they made a deal with Monsanto to ship over all the rights to Actinovate. My brother and my mother stayed at Novozymes. I branched off because I was in sales, and I went to work for Monsanto. Basically, my contract it expired in the end of 2015, and in 2016, I was like, let's start another business. So that's where we're at now. Blacksmith Bioscience. Lots of years and years and years of experience with microbes, specifically Streptomyces. But more than just that, we're really, really good at optimization. So what we do is we take organisms that are proven, or organisms that we've discovered, and we optimize their abilities to function properly. Our first product that we brought out was Forage, which you guys may or may not be familiar with. It was a specific strain of Streptomyces, MR541. Basically, we sold it as an iron chelating organism, produced a ton of siderophores, which basically is Latin for iron transport, helps break down minerals and micronutrients in the soil, aids in just really robust root growth and top growth. And that's how we sold it. That's what we do. We're a plant health company that tries to focus on helping people reduce or eliminate their need for chemical fungicides, or chemicals in general, basically is what we're trying to do. So Forage last October, I made a decision to pull it out of production, and it was just a decision I had to make. It's not forever gone. If there's any you see out there, it's still good. Great product. What we did is at that time I made a product called Armory, and Armory basically is 6 very specific strains of Bacillus. There's 4 subtlest strains in there, a lichen strain in there, and an amyloidophagous strain. This product is really good. It's I like to call it like a probiotic for plants. It gets in the root zone, it colonizes the root zone, it aids in the cycling of nutrients, uptake of nutrients. It's really good for overall vigor and health. The way that we put the proprietary carrier is it optimizes the function of the organisms, all of them. And you'll see that this product is as good as any out there for overall root health and also good for exterior foliar health as well. Our second product, well actually this was a product we had also last year, but it's called Nitryx. This one's been kind of overlooked in our cannabis market. Outdoor ag-wise, it's been just doing really, really well. What it is it's a very specific Bacillus strain, and it's a rhizosphere competent organism. It helps to draw nitrogen out of the atmosphere, basically convert it into usable nitrogen for the plant. But it does more than that. It's actually an endophyte, so it grows into the structure of the plant. It's not just in the roots like most organisms. It actually grows in the tissue of the plant. It was found in the tissue of a lodgepole pine, is actually where we isolate it from. So it's a really unique organism. Basically, it triggers a lot of stress reduction. If the plant's under stress, it releases metabolites that help it deal with the stress. So it's a great plant health. We did a cannabis trial in Salinas Valley. The guy added it to an existing fertilization program, and he got 27% increase in yield. Like two trials last year, and he's on his third trial this year. So we'll see if we keep it up. But it's like an average of 22%. So it's a really good product. All my products are 100% soluble. All of them are on powder form. Really high concentrations of specific ones. I do have a partnership with an Italian company called Isagro, and we have two of their products. I'd like to talk about the first one here, which is an amino acid. It's a carob seed meal product called Tamarack Nature. It is organically labeled. It's really, I think the place that we're trying to position it for is for fruit set. So basically at flower, you spray it once every 12 to 15 days for 2 to 3 applications, and you're going to have a really, really, really greatly increased fruit set and also yield increase. But really what you're trying to do is maximize all the fruit sets that you have. And that product is a proven product. It's an Italian, like I said, Italian company makes it. We ship it into the U.S. and then we have basically the exclusive for our specialty crop market. We have another one of their products too called Tenet, and it's a dual fungicide. Dual trichoderma fungicide. It's Asperillum and Gamsey. Those are the two strains of trichoderma. Really good for root rots. With trichodermas, I always say put them in at earliest stages in the soil and let them run their course. 30, 45 days you'll get all the damping off, Pythium, Phytophthora, all those risks are gone, and also it'll help with the rooting. So that'll be a great product for you. This is the one that I've been working on for, let me think, almost a year. And we were supposed to have it last fall. And you may or may not remember it, because we got rid of it, I think in 13 it went off the market, but it's called No Fly. And it's a Bacillomyces fungus, and what it does is it's kind of like the Met 52 product, it targets insects. So if an insect's a host, if a spore lands on it, it burrows into it, kills it from the inside out. It's basically, once it gets infected, it's probably a 3 to 5 day kill. The really cool thing about this product is that it's a saprophyte, which is weird for a fungus to be able to live on decaying organic material in your soil. So if you put it out there as like a maintenance drench on soil, just the top, half inch, quarter inch, somewhere like that, any bugs that lay eggs in the soil that are hosts, or even light on the soil and pick up a couple of spores of the fungus, they're gonna get infected and die. So it's really a unique product for not only contact kill for treatment, but also as a maintenance product. Inexpensive as a drench with long-lasting benefits. We did lots of trials in greenhouses where they had dirt floors, just spraying the floors to cut down on thrips and whitefly, but mainly thrips for that particular trial. But it was really, really good. It did really good. And this is going to be, it's already registered. I'm not sure about when the Oregon state's going to be, but basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the production of the product moved to the U.S. And so everything's in line, we're just waiting for the EPA to okay it. And what that will do for us, it'll allow me to special make the orders for y'all, because it only has a 6-month shelf life. So I want to make sure when you order it, you're getting it fresh for me. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to make it to order.
You all.
Kind of like Burger King.
You all.
You all. Everybody says y'all, not just Texans. Come on.
Everybody.
But basically that's my product line, really and truly. The two products that I have, the Nitryx and the Armory, those are the ones that we put a lot of love and care into as far as making sure that the carrier has just the right balance of things that help stimulate the organism to produce more of the metabolites, to be able to reproduce faster, to increase the germination percentage, do everything possibly we can to make the products work as well as they can, which in turn, hopefully our goal is to make your plants as healthy as they can so they can reduce any kind of, basically, the stress and diseases and stuff won't show up. That's what we're hoping for. So that's what our goal is, to help to reduce or eliminate the need for chemicals. That's what we're trying to do. So those products, these other products we don't really have a lot of control over, especially these ones that are EPA registered, because that's very strict. So they're proven products that are great products, but are ones that we build from the ground up, basically is what we do. And we'll have more products. I just hired the microbiologist that we've known for 20 years or 30 years actually now, that he's going to be on board starting Monday, and we have a lot of projects. So there'll be a lot of new technologies coming down the pipe, a lot of excitement, a lot of optimization again is going to be taking place. So it's just going to get better for Blacksmith Bioscience products. But if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Now, which products did you say you foliar?
To apply foliarly?
Yes.
Well, the Nitryx or the Armory, either one of those you could apply foliarly. And also the no-fly is basically, if you have insects, you want to try to hit them. So you want to fog, basically.
So you can foliar with as well as
You'll have to if you see the bug that you're trying to kill.
Right,
you want to hit it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What's your term for bugs?
Which bugs am I referring to?
Absolutely.
Mealy bugs, fungus gnats, thrips, whiteflies, aphids.
Root aphids?
Root aphids. Like I said, the really cool thing about it is you basically, if you can saturate the soil, it's a facultative saprotroph, so it lives there. It'll stay there, and it'll keep staying there. So do it as a maintenance, drench everything, I say.
And it's fungi-based, correct?
It is a fungus, yep. So don't use any fungicides, chemical fungicides. It's totally compatible with most of the natural stuff. It might inhibit it a little bit, but it's not going to make it stop working.
What's it like against powder mildew?
The no-fly?
Yeah.
Well, it's an insecticide, so it shouldn't have too much effect on
I'm
it.
curious, since it was a fungi, if they were competing on it.
Yeah, no, it's basically an insecticide, so it's not a fungicide. The tenon is a fungicide, but it's a trial. Basically, with trichodermas, if you were going to try to even use those whatsoever for any kind of foliar disease, you'd have to put so much out there, it would be impractical. So that's just for root diseases as well.
How's that work in a hydro?
The tenon?
The one from the, root problems and root rot and stuff?
The root rots, basically, you just run it in your circulation tank the first time. Hopefully, what it'll do is wrap around the roots and colonize the rhizosphere.
And it'll stand there for how many days?
It should stay in there for at least 30 days.
Even if you flush it every week?
Well, once you flush it, there'll still be some on the roots. You might want to add more to get those colony-forming units back up to an acceptable level.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, anytime you add any biological to the soil, it's always going to be there. I mean, it's going to be there until you sterilize the soil, really. It's just a matter of, is it going to be there in a high enough concentration for it to do what you want it to? That's really the question. So, when you see products, our products are super high concentrated. They're to the point that we know, and they're probably even higher than what we put on the label, because that's our guaranteed amount after a year or 2 years or whatever the shelf life is, right? So, what we're saying is, when you dilute it in water and add it to your thing, we'll say, okay, for soil, 30 days is a really good time frame in the soil for any of the biologicals. It could even last longer in the right kind of conditions. But what happens is nature will always try to get it to go down to a more normal and balanced number. So you always have to add more to get the effect that you're looking for. And that's with any of them. So, our stuff it's really good. If you look at the label, it gives you a nice wide time frame and a rate amount, because every situation's a little different, right? So like the Armory, half teaspoon per gallon, very solid middle of the road rate. But you can go to quarter of a teaspoon per gallon and maybe get the same results. It's just a matter of playing around with it once you get used to it. But it's good stuff.
And so the Armory, according to Cornell University, the Bacillus will help with my powdery mildew foot. And
Armory is actually not labeled as a fungicide. Right. So what we're trying to do is
labeled like that, but
yeah,
it can't be used.
Yeah, it's not labeled for it, so I can't recommend use it for that.
You guys the maker of Forge?
We did make forage, yeah.
Made forage is active for powder mildew and all that good stuff?
It's not labeled for powdery mildew.
Okay.
So it's not labeled for it, but it could.
It's not labeled for powdery mildew.
I think everybody's wondering if you do have a product that is labeled for powdery mildew.
Blacksmith Bioscience is trying to make products that basically strengthen plants and help them reduce or eliminate the need for chemical fungicides. Or fungicides. That's what my goal is. I'm not super interested in the time and effort and financial, basically we just want to make plant health products. That's what we want to do.
And the healthier my
So
plant is.
in terms of using it, builds up its own resistance.
Yeah, I mean, even like this
Yeah,
exactly. Even tamarack, which is a carob seed meal, amino acid, biostimulant. It's a biostimulant, right? I said use it for fruit set as a foliar application, but it's very good to use in the soil as well, and it will signal the plant to produce byproducts that help it resist stress, basically. I mean, it does do that. It does a lot of stuff. But it's a food source for most organisms, beneficial organisms as well. So it's a good product to add in there to increase all that health that we're trying to get. All the strength and health that we're trying to get those plants to have to be able to resist all the disease, basically. We don't want the disease in the first place. Let the disease go down the street to the weak plants. That's really what you want.
Will any of these foliar products adversely affect beneficial bugs?
No. Any biological insects that you use, none of these will affect it. Even the no-fly is really specifically designed to be used with a beneficial program. A lot of my buddies in Eastern Canada, where that's a huge part of their greenhouse operations. We did all of our development of that product back in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, years and years we were out there practicing and using it, and it's a great product, great fit. Doesn't kill mites, that's probably why.
Could you use it in brewing any teas, or would you suggest adding it into your feeds, or how would you use it?
If you're gonna do a tea, I would say add it to the tea right before you apply it. That way you get because like I said, everything will come to balance in there. And so it may or may not do what you want it to. Whereas if you brew your tea and then add a half teaspoon or teaspoon or however many gallons you have of our stuff to it right before you spray it, it's gonna do exactly what you want it to. Anybody else?
Does chlorinated water severely affect it?
Everybody should be concerned about chlorinated water if they're trying to maintain a healthy microflora, because chlorinated water will damage microbes. That's what it's designed to do. So you definitely need to, if you are on city water and there is a high amount of chlorine in the water, I suggest either letting it off gas for a few hours before you mix our products into it, or use a dechlorinator, which is very inexpensive and it instantaneously works, for sure. Yeah.
What about pH? Does that neutral pH? Is there a certain pH?
Our stuff doesn't affect pH and works in a very wide range of pH. Anywhere from pHs of 4 to almost 10. So you get a wide range, but they don't affect pH, so you should be good.
Is there a certain pH that it should be foliared at, like the plant would take?
Usually our organisms, if you look at where they're most active by themselves with no other products with them, or food sources, so to speak, generally some of them are right around 7, they're the most active. Some are a little bit 6.5-ish, but they're on the higher side. But like I said, it's with what we do with the carriers is we tweak those to give them what they need as far as food source and stimulants and things like that to get them to produce what they need to produce.
So you don't want to go too acidic or it'll kill off all the...
Not necessarily, no. I mean, if you're growing a plant, our stuff's going to do well in it. It should be fine. Anybody else?
Are these naturally occurring soil bacteria?
That's all we go out and hunt them down. The way that you find them is you basically see something like a grove of lodgepole pine trees, and you're just like, why are these so healthy here and these right next to it are dead? And so you go and you find organisms, all the different ones, and then you slowly, methodically go through them and eliminate the ones that it can't be. Oh, can't be that one, can't be that one. You could have hundreds of organisms and whittle them down to 10, and then it's really, really precise what you have to do to figure out which one's up. But yeah, they're all natural occurring, and that's all we'll ever use is naturally occurring, because that's the fun, really. Stomping around out in the woods trying to find the good stuff.
And how many different diverse species do you have in each one?
In the Armory product?
And the Nitryx.
Nitryx is one specific strain.
Okay.
And then the Armory is 6 strains. Yeah. And then, of course, this is 2 trichodermas and tenet, 1 strain of Bacillus myces and the no-fly, then the Tamarack is just a biostimulant.
What's the expected shelf life on the Armory?
The Armory's 2 years, and the Nitryx is 2 years. The tenet is a year, but it comes from it. I've talked to their product development guy who used to work for us a long time ago, and he said it's easily 18 months, but I was like, it's still, basically we get this stuff with like 9 months left on it, because it takes about 3 months to get here. But it's good. It doesn't need to be, none of these products need to be refrigerated, you know. But if you do refrigerate them to make them last longer, because that will help them last longer, don't freeze them, just refrigerate them. But if you do refrigerate products that are biologicals, not just mine, anybody's, make sure you pull them out. I would say 48 to 72 hours before you use them. And the reason why is if you pull them right out and use them right away, your germination percentage is going to go woo, way down to the bottom. So if you let them come to room temperature and acclimate for a couple of days, you'll get much higher germination percentage.
Hey, James.
Yes,
so, big difference, and this is for me, apples to apples. Of course, like with Microblight Photo Plus, you know, we guarantee within 20 to 40 minutes systemically, and we realize this isn't systemic, but systemically, we can be fully introduced into the plant 100%. Pretty lightning fast. Now with the Bacillus bacteria that we're talking about, of course they're going to hang around in the root zone much longer because it's a much more enhanced environment for them with the soil.
Yeah, all these products they're all facultative stratotrophs, so they don't just live off the waste products of the roots. They like those a lot, and that's why they all congregate there, and that's why they're called rhizosphere competent. But they just live in decaying organic matter, basically. Decaying peat, bark, whatever you're using as your soil base. It's all composting and decaying, and that's what it loves too. So, but Bacillus are always fast acting. So any Bacillus strains you have, they are very quick to grow. They're the fastest growing, fastest acting. You know, certain strains only produce their metabolites one time and that's it. They're done. You know, and other ones will produce them again on, you know, different cycles, but they're spaced out. So basically what we've done, that's why we have 4 different strains of Cellulus, because they're all a little different. They work at different timings. So what we're trying to do is just get a consistent profile of the metabolites that the plant needs to really become as strong as possible. So they're not just all willy-nilly, let's pick this one or that one. They're well-researched strains that, you know, are proven and we know what they do. And so that's what we do them. All 6 of them, actually.
Can you overdose with it?
Most microbials, you won't see any detrimental response to too much added. Your pocketbook could maybe see a little bit of an adverse effect, but mainly they really won't hurt you if you go too much. But at a certain level, you'll see no improvement. So the label rate's generally going to be the rate you want to use. You can go at the highest rate, and we have a wide range. It's a pretty good range. So the highest rate, and you can add it once a week if you want. It doesn't have to be once a month. It can be every 4 days. You know, whatever you guys do. I mean, if you change the water once a week in a hydroponic system, I would suggest adding a little bit more, you know.
So warmer environments, 65 degree and up, they're going to be more active versus more of a cooler temperature?
65 is pretty low, but they'll still be active at that, but yeah.
What's the ideal temperature?
Generally for organisms, it's pretty warm. They like warm temperatures for the most active. Now most, like, you know, some streptomyces, their ideal temperature is like 95 degrees, but that doesn't mean it's not really good at 80 degrees or 70 degrees, you know. Anything below 40 degrees and nothing's active. The tenet is a trichoderma that actually is pretty cold tolerant. The one strain is like 44 degrees and the other strain is like 47 degrees, it's active. Now most of the time your soil is not going to be that cold while your plant's growing anyway, but if you're trying to get those early damping off you know, problems that you have, you know, and the water's really cold that you're watering with, it might be good to have it in there so it doesn't you know, shock it, make it shut down for a little bit. But most old plants, anything over 60 and it's active, right? The warmer it is, the more active they are.
So you put into a mixture into your container, how long can that sit idle before things start to break down and lose their value?
Again, once you add organisms into a media, they'll want to reach balance. So they immediately start
No, just sitting in water. Say somebody mixes up a big solution.
Oh, like makes
They
it
water
tank.
in the morning, there's still some sitting here 6 hours.
If it's like totally stagnant water, probably just a couple hours. You'll have to, but if you have even just a pump or even just a mixing paddle in it or something, it can go for. I always suggest if you mix something up, just use it the day you mix it. That's what I suggest, unless it's in motion, and then it can last for a while. But
how about mixing it in with your food, like with nectar for the gods or whatever?
it's compatible with everything, basically. I mean, it's compatible. The only thing I say that not to mix it directly with would be like peroxide products, copper products, anything that's a sterilant or a bactericide. And of course with the fungicides. But
Could you use any of the products to help re-inoculate soil? Like, so since your soil, like the, the fly or whatever?
the no-fly?
No fly, so since your soil's been sitting all winter long, just in case there's any bugs, throw that in there to help kill off anything that might be sitting in soil and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the no-fly, if you have an existing plant and you're gonna have some problems with root aphids or something like that, then yes, soak it all the way through to roots. But if you're just like have some soil, and you're just like, hey, it's gonna warm up and there might be some eggs in there or whatever, just do that top ½ inch, that's all. Because the bugs have to come through there. They have to come through there to get out. And when they come through there, they're gonna get some spores on them. And then 3 to 5 days later, and I have a cool picture I was gonna show you guys. Basically, when you're like tooling around and you like go, what the heck is that thing? You'll know that's a bug that got blown up from the inside out. So basically what happens is the spores land on the insect and they go, hey, this is a host, and they burrow through the exoskeleton and they make a spore tube and they drop a spore in. And so the spores get in the vascular system and they're spinning around in their bloodstream and they germinate and they multiply and then they go out. They get all fuzzy. We used to have like a cool, like, it showed you like in the background when I was talking, like slowly getting infected. It was kind of cool. But it's, yeah, that's how it works. And it's, but yeah, so if you do that as a maintenance in the soil, just that much, unless you have a plant that you might have a problem with, then you want to soak the roots all the way. But generally, yeah, if it picks up the spores, it's going to be dead. That's just, and it's a host. The insect's a host. So
Nitrogen runoff. Can you talk more on the Nitryx?
this is Mike's favoriteest picture of all. Let me see if I can find it for you, Mike. Michael Carl Gorka. I just call you Gorka. He likes this picture, right? So Nitryx is basically, we've done so many different trials with so many different percentages of nitrogen added just by adding it. Anywhere from, I think the best one I saw that was the most conclusive was about 13.9%, and it was just added to an existing program, and it was actually measuring the actual nitrogen in the plant. A lot of times with nitrogens, especially in soil, so they can run off pretty easy if you overwater or something like that. They get leached out, so you're wasting it and getting it into the runoff, into the streams and whatnot. So, the Nitryx helps with that. You can. I don't suggest reducing your nitrogen, but I suggest you watching your program, add the Nitryx to it. It's pretty inexpensive as far as biologicals go, and you'll see more efficient use of all the fertilizers you use, really. So, I mean, even in the Armory, there's all, those organisms do a lot of things. They help make phosphorus and manganese available. They do a lot of stuff. I mean, they're chosen for specific purposes, and that's why they're in our products. But again, Nitryx is great for making nitrogen more efficient in your mix. So anything you use that has nitrogen in it, it'll be more readily available. Not just pulling it from the air, but what's in the mix.
And again, your main player of bacteria in the Nitryx is, so I mean, we wanted to Google, break it down, and look at that specific strain more, is what?
The Bacillus.
Bacillus.
Yeah, it's Bacillus polymyxa. Yeah. I forget the strain exactly, but it's on the package. PB something or another.
And none of these, say people, a lot of guys like to run teas, okay? And, the biggest chatter that goes on in networking is self-cannibalization. Everybody can throw everything into the kitchen sink, but, in many cases, less is better. So as far as self-cannibalization, you said, you could put this into your tea at the end of the cycle.
Yeah, what I would suggest is make your tea the way you want your tea, the way you normally make it, but if you add our product, add it right before you apply it. And that way you're getting exactly the concentration of these organisms that we're trying to tell you what it does, and you should do it that way because that will guarantee the concentrations that are on the label. If you put it in there, there's no telling really what the concentration will be. Will it be lower or higher, or you don't know. So It should be higher, but sometimes, yeah, everything comes to balance, right? So you have all these different organisms and maybe one kind of outcompetes the other one and you don't really know. So with our stuff, I love compost teas, just add our stuff to the compost tea right before you apply it. That's the way to do it.
Could this actually be frozen and would it kill it if you froze that bacteria?
Bacteria can be frozen, so that's not a problem.
Well, we know heat can kill it, 120 degrees and above.
Yeah, just stay away from anything over 100 degrees for any long periods of time, and you should be fine. I mean, sterilization doesn't occur until like 140 something, but pasteurization occurs in the 120s somewhere. So anything too hot for too long is not going to be helpful, right? So if you store it in a hot area, just don't store it there. Find a cool place to store it.
And is it a myth or truth? I mean, basically say you're running at 75, 85 degrees, you're using a beneficial bacteria. Does it actually expand, compound in its concentration and even perform better because of that temperature?
In what situation?
So you're using it as an inoculant on the plant at 85 degrees.
In a soil mix?
Soil mix.
Like I said, when you first put that, what we're doing here with these beneficial biologicals is we're taking an unnaturally high concentration of a naturally occurring organism, right? So you're taking this unnaturally high concentration of a naturally occurring organism and you're putting it in soil. So right away, there's a bunch of them in there and they're taking up all the space and they're outcompeting everything, really. Not everything, but most of the things. Deleterious organisms are organisms that don't quite hurt the plant directly, but they might rob nutrients or take water or moisture away from the plant. We kick those out. Helps your plant become healthier, helps your roots become stronger. That's all kind of our game plan, so that's how we do it. Now, over time, that high number, it won't really expand too much. It might expand a little bit like right away, but then it will start going back down to balance. So, like I say, it's add it every so often to get those naturally occurring organisms to an unnaturally high level to do what you want them to do. Anything else? I think so.
All right. Are we ready to do the contest?
So actually, James can draw since he's our guest here in the Northwest.
First of all, someone won from last week for the blue mat thing. I got that here.
A couple latecomers too.
Oh, hold on a second. All right.
Yeah.
Who didn't get one?
Do what?
Yeah, they're right down there. There's the old lady. All right. The winner of the crop blue mat for the online. What's that? Oh, God. This is for who the like share contest on the video we did from last week when you killed. Dan Kent, the winner. Holy moly, you're here! It's actually here!
Yeah, there's a blue follower. Huh?
Now you can leave that garden, go get some dinner or whatever, you're gonna be okay. Now, you know what you're giving away, so
okay, guys, so
that's it for me.
Here's what we're giving away, so we should probably go from...
I'm handing out samples.
So, and James has samples of the Nitryx and the Armory. Each envelope does a gallon of water.
It's a fortune.
Got that anyway, huh?
So I think what we're going to do is we'll give up 3 t-shirts. Hopefully one of the sizes work. You can come up and tell us what size you are. We'll give those out. And yeah, you should probably see what the t-shirt looks like.
What's the t-shirt look like, Carl?
That's pretty cool. You know, we're going to have a Northwest Grind one coming out that looks like that too, same colors. So that's the Blacksmith, blank on the back. We'll do 3 t-shirts. Gonna do 3 2-ounces. Now, retail on these guys is $42 retail, and we're gonna do a pounder. Price on the back of this is $178. And then I'm even gonna do something from my company, Northwest Grind. That's my personal company. One of these Blacksmith grinders. Okay. So what do we got there, James? We got 3 t-shirts, 3 2-ounce, 1 pound in the grinder. So I think we'll do the 1 pound in the grinder in the last drawing. So we'll start out with 3 t-shirts, 3 2-ounce, pound, we love a pound, and a grinder. So that's 8 prizes. Fair enough?
Start drawing.
Pretty good odds of winning.
Go.
All right.
People got all
So
day.
here's the t-shirts. All right, last four numbers, right?
Yeah.
8955.
8955.
That's for a t-shirt.
The big winner.
If you got a small.
I won.
8954. That's a t-shirt.
Hey, I'll take a large.
If you got a small.
I think.
We don't.
All right.
Oh,
then
wait,
No,
no.
what, you get a medium.
Put me on
Yeah, let's
something
trade
else.
down.
All right.
Watch it hot.
And the last
Mediums don't
t-shirt is 8952. So there's the three t-shirts.
Mediums don't work.
So you need
The
a small
neck,
one.
it's all about the neck.
Okay.
I think we have one small.
Do you?
Did we?
No, we did.
We did?
No, we did not.
No,
We're
we
gonna
didn't.
figure something out for you.
You know what? We do have a small.
Okay.
Give me your key.
small.
I'll go look for it.
Yeah, I think if
We
it's,
had one
if
small.
it's not in that pile.
And I was holding up going, there's no way we're gonna find somebody.
I don't know if you I don't know if you people have noticed this, but mediums are a lot bigger than they used to be.
Not in this shirt.
Not
in this
Who were
shirt.
the other
No,
two?
no, you
Who
go
were the
buy
other
them
two
now.
t-shirt
They've
winners?
gotten a lot smaller for me. I've been wearing a medium. Tighter and tighter and tighter.
No, Bob, after the show, I'll explain it to you about that. It's not the t-shirt that's getting smaller in your case. That was a nice try though.
Is that it? What else is there? What are you doing?
There's
I'm trying to give
t-shirts out, Bob.
everybody his t-shirt.
The show must go on. It's the first little show business.
Okay, you draw the three arms.
All right,
That's
three
what two
armories. Here we go.
He's a real crack whipper,
Yeah.
953.
whippersnapper.
Oh, 8953?
Yeah, 953. What did you win? One of these?
You want the big
2
one?
ounce,
right?
2 ounce.
2 ounce.
All right.
Whipsnapper.
All right.
Is he the
All right, here we
whipsnapper?
go.
Large?
Either way, yeah.
There's a large.
I'm easy.
8940. Booyah. Yeah, there. Okay.
James does have your small shirt, by the way.
8941.
Well, thank
Found
you.
All right, now it's the big one.
Okay, I'm gonna.
You
No,
draw the big one?
I'm gonna do the grinder.
Oh, all right.
I'm gonna. Okay. One of a kind. You're the only one in Eugene that's gonna have a grinder like this.
T-shirt, I don't know, a
Custom
couple,
made.
3 weeks ago, right? And all they had was a medium.
8943.
I took the medium. I can wear it
8943.
over top of my bike
Woo!
jacket. for goodness sake.
One of my new friends.
They really have changed this. They've really changed the size of
You
it.
pull the number for the 1 pound bag.
Oh, yeah.
I used to wear,
Have you been to Walmart?
What number, how many numbers do I have to call?
Last
Been
four.
there for a while?
I
The
can't
last
go to
four?
Walmart.
8949.
I'm
8949.
I can't go to Walmart.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very
If
much.
any of you have
Yeah, oh, yeah.
more in-depth questions, ask
I don't
James.
get out much
He
when I
can
get
tell you about
out.
anything.
Thanks, James.
If